I'm Robert Bell, and we're here at the 2013 NAB show talking with thought leaders in media contribution and distribution about some of the most important trends shaping the industry, from technology shifts to changing viewer expectations. And here's what one of them had to say about the most important changes taking place today.
Our core business is capturing, manipulating, and delivering media for the Tier 1 broadcasters of the world. And they're in a challenged environment where, as there are more video opportunities and the population of the planet begins to decline, they have to figure out alternative ways of generating revenue from the same piece of media in multiple platforms. So since we originate in many cases their core networks, very strategic place for us to be able to deliver to all of these screens that are the second, third, and fourth generation point, hopefully on their part, to generate additional revenues.
Yeah, I think that the interesting part is, a few years ago, you talked to a broadcaster or a cable operator or programmer about, what is the size of his market, and he would define it in terms of homes passed or households, TV households in that particular market. And I think today the definition is modified. It's no longer, for example, 115 million households in the United States. There's really 1 billion screens in the United States alone, or globally there's 5 or 6 billion screens. And the question is, how does an operator or a programmer reach those screens? And the role of an Encompass, for example, is to help them get into the first 115 million households with a quality image, but then add on the necessary technology and evolve the service so they can reach those billions of screens.
Global. Everything is about global. Our customers need to be able to take their media from one territory to multiple territories in a very cost-efficient manner. So again, one of our strategic goals was to be able to have platforms and facilities in every territory, to be able to seamlessly move media between North America and Latin America, Asia, Europe, EMEA, very cost effectively for the same client, for the same piece of media. It's all about global.
Right. Program is looking for ubiquity, wants to be everywhere. The trailing hot button, I think you asked that question last year, and last year it was a lot about graphics. Graphics being able to seamlessly be integrated into the stream of the broadcast gives them another opportunity to generate additional revenues. I think we're beginning to mature in that area. I think that what we're seeing is an enormous requirement to be as cost effective as possible. Well, I think it's an expression that was originally coined by MTV. Act global but think local, and it's very much at play here. The programming community at large is a global distribution environment. We talk about ubiquity of their content, and yet what they're really demanding on is an ever and ever finer iteration of their global content. So our opportunity is, with a global presence, is cost effectively with a global platform, get that content distributed around the world, prepare it for all those billions of screens, but do so in a very refined and precise manner. Because ultimately, it's about what the customer is looking for, and the customer will determine what they're prepared to watch and pay for, and our objective is to allow the content provider to reach that customer and fulfill his need.
No, the trends are really clear. The satellite is an unassailable asset to go from one point to multiple points, but we see a huge shift going point to point. We're not in the satellite business, we're in the delivery business. Right. We spend as much money on fiber as we do on satellite. We're seeing more and more fiber and satellite. Any major sporting event goes on both. and the internet looms out there as an alternative, particularly for news. So there's going to be pressure on the satellite carriers to adjust to that shift. They still have an enormous advantage when it comes to point-to-multiple.
Right. They have that point-to-multi-point capability. It's clearly an extraordinarily reliable method of distribution, more so sometimes than fiber optics, for example. But I think that the reinvention of satellite is going to be to serve things and people that move. So the blue water, maritime, aeronautical is important, into ever and ever smaller antennae, smaller, less expensive devices. But as Bill mentioned, there's a real pressure on the business that comes from alternative distributions.
I think we'll be talking about a lot of the same things we're talking about now. They're not enormous glacial shifts that are happening in our business. Our business has longer horizons than a lot of businesses do. But I think we will beginning, in 3 years, we'll see all of these new screens and which ones have become true opportunities to monetize and which ones haven't. So I think the shift in 3 years will be that a lot of the screens that are not traditional screens today will actually begin to eat into the gross revenues that are generated by the industry. And that'll begin to define where some of these technologies go.
Right. I think we like to think in terms of revolution, but really we exist in a world of evolution. And while here at a convention like this, you see the cutting edge implementation of technology and what is in the art of the possible, the reality is until the market adopts it at a critical mass, on a critical mass level, does take a decade. So 3 years from now, we're not going to say, oh my God, I should have thought of that. But rather, it's going to be, oh my God, it took longer than I thought.